My wife was overjoyed when she told me with the possibility of having a son and having our first child. I mean, we were ecstatic. Being married 14 years and numerous doctor's appointments and visits, it brought a lot of fear into my heart because it seemed like every time an open door would come, it would close. And so the possibility of having children was pretty low. And if I have my son and he's in my arms and I hold him and I get to raise him, that'd be cool, that'd be awesome. And that's what I wanted. But at the same time, it was almost like, oh, wait and see what happens. I knew something was wrong basically as soon as I entered into the house. The lights weren't on like they usually are, but that didn't raise too much of a concern. It was more when I came into the house and opened the door and the door was unlocked, and then the water in the kitchen faucet was still running, and the chili and the lasagna were still cooking in the stove. So I knew there was something wrong because that was at 3 o'clock when I left, and Julia would never have left something like that on for eight hours. So at that point, I ran throughout the house looking for her, and I found her in the bathroom, and she was curled over on the side with a phone in her hand. She had a blue denim dress on, which covered her, entire body. So I didn't realize that she had began to give birth. I just thought maybe she fainted, hit her head, or might have had a seizure or something. And so at that point, I tried to turn her over, and she was solid and stiff. And so I went downstairs. My neighbors were on their porch, and so I yelled out to them to call 911, and I ran across the street to get a nurse that I knew lived across the street. We began to do CPR on Julia, and we tried as much as we could, and through the course of doing the CPR, I noticed that there was a taste of vomit from her mouth, so I knew something happened, and later on I learned that she asphyxiated because she vomited, I guess, during giving birth, because the child's head was crowning and she was dilated 10 centimeters, so she was in the actual process of giving birth. But I didn't realize that at the time. Neighbors all gathered because they thought we were gonna have a baby. They're all like, hey, this is exciting, it's happening now. And I kind of said no. I said no, she's not giving birth. I said she may be dead. So I said we need to pray. So I started praying, and I praying at the top of my lungs, basically, God, who can raise the dead? I know you can raise Julia if this is your desire. And the paramedics came down and they said, Mr. Brochu, we need to tell you something. And I said, is my wife Julia in heaven tonight? They said, yes, she is. And I said, were you able to save my son Summer, or is he in heaven with his mother tonight? No, we weren't able to save him. He's with his mother tonight. And you're in your bedroom, and the clothes are all still there, and the baby's room is done, and it was painted, and everything's there, and there's no baby, there's no wife. And then the reality of the loneliness became real. Though I never felt alone because I felt the presence of God, but the loneliness of missing this person who you could talk to. I refused to stay in a place of deep mourning where you're just caught in a depth of a pit or something like that. And I wanted to have my life mean more than that. So what I did is I began a Bible study about a few months later in my home, and began to reach out to all people between the ages of 18 to 35, 40, single people. And it really was a healing thing for me to get away from myself and to focus on other people and to share the good news of Jesus Christ.